Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking a really close look at a game that started small, almost like a side project.
Right, a resume project, actually.
Exactly, and it just exploded into this massive cultural thing. We're talking about Stardew Valley.
It really is more than just a game, isn't it? It's this incredible story of solo dedication, really thoughtful design, almost countercultural in a way.
Totally. I mean, the numbers alone are wild. Over 41 million copies sold.
And it's spun off into cookbooks, actual orchestral symphonies. It's kind of amazing.
It really is. And the core thing, the fact that just anchors this whole deep dive for me, is that the first version, the initial release, it was all one person.
Eric Barone, or ConcernedApe, as most players know him.
Yeah. He was the designer, the coder, the animator, the artist. He did the music, wrote everything.
Everything. It's just mind-blowing.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to really unpack that journey. We want to understand what drove Barone, what sparked it all.
Right, the kind of desperation almost that led to the project, and how his specific design ideas created a game that feels so charming on the surface.
But has this surprising depth, maybe even a critique of, like, modern life packed in there.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get into it. But first, we really need to grasp the scale of that effort, his sacrifice.
Yeah, this wasn't just a quick thing.
No way.
Yeah.
He put himself through this intense crunch, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week.
For 4.5 years straight.
That adds up to, what, almost 16,000 hours of just him working alone before it even launched.
It's staggering. You just don't see that in the big studios, right? Where you've got huge teams, maybe hundreds of people. This kind of singular focus let him pour his own vision into every tiny detail. And I think that's a huge part of why the game feels so cohesive, so personal.
That personal touch is definitely key to its charm, its staying power.
Absolutely.
So let's dig into where that vision actually came from.
Okay, so Eric Barone, born in LA back in '87, but the place that really shaped him and where Stardew Valley was born was the Pacific Northwest.
Auburn, Washington,
Oh,
right?
right.
A Seattle suburb.
Exactly. That environment, access to tech education, a certain kind of culture, it was important.
And it seems like that creative spark was there way before the coding really took over.
Oh, yeah. Sources mention he was really into music, not formally trained, but played in bands.
Bands doing what? Like rock?
A real mix, apparently. Everything from nu metal
Wow, okay.
to experimental pop. So quite a range.
That's interesting. It shows a willingness to experiment.
Definitely. And what's really telling is how early he mixed creativity with tech. His very first game attempt wasn't even Stardew.
Oh, what was it?
It was back in 2008. He made this point-and-click adventure, kind of LucasArts style, called 17 CF Quest.
Okay.
And he made it specifically to promote an album for his experimental pop band.
No way. So that blend of coding, music, art,
Yeah.
it was his thing from the start, not something he figured out just for Stardew.
Exactly. It was like his natural way of operating.
So he had this dual background, the tech guy and the self-taught creative, but the actual game idea, the farming sim, that came from somewhere else.
Pure nostalgia, pretty much. He talks openly about loving the Harvest Moon series as a kid.
A classic.
Absolutely. It was something that stuck with him, something he wanted to see evolve,
But getting from loving Harvest Moon to making Stardew Valley wasn't straightforward. There was a major hurdle.
Yeah, the career crisis right after college, that was the real turning point. He graduated from University of Washington, Tacoma in 2011, computer science degree.
Should be set for a job, right? Especially in that area.
You'd think so, but he just couldn't find work in the tech industry.
Ouch. That's tough. A lot of grads face that gap between the diploma and the job offer.
Exactly. And that's why Stardew Valley started. It wasn't some grand artistic vision initially.
It was practical.
Totally practical. He just wanted to practice coding in C#, build something impressive to put on his resume.
So it was literally meant to get him a job.
Yeah. The ultimate portfolio piece to show employers, hey, I can actually build stuff.
And instead, it became this life-consuming marathon.
It really did. Let's talk about that dedication again. 4.5 years, 70-hour weeks. That's grueling, especially with no money coming in.
How did he even manage that?
Well, for a big chunk of that time, she lived with his parents to keep costs down.
Okay.
Then, when he moved to Seattle, things were still really tight. His girlfriend at the time, Amber Hagman, she worked 2 jobs.
Wow, 2 jobs to support them both.
Yeah. While he was coding all day, and he also worked a part-time job himself in the evenings.
Doing what?
He was an usher at the Paramount Theater. taking tickets.
Man, you have to picture that. Coding this beautiful, peaceful farmscape all day.
Right, in a basement or a tiny apartment.
Knowing your partner's working double shifts and you're off to the theater later just to keep the lights on, it adds this whole layer, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes the game feel less like just a product and more like this testament to personal sacrifice and mutual support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that lack of budget, that pressure, it directly impacted how he built it, right? The tools he used.
For sure. No money meant finding accessible software. The pixel art, he did that using paint.net.
Which is free, yeah.
Yep. And for the music and sound effects, which are amazing, by the way, he used Reason Studios. Powerful software, but something one person could realistically manage.
So, literally built from the ground up with affordable or free tools, he started coding in C# with Microsoft XNA.
That's right. But XNA, while it got him started, had limitations down the road.
Limitations how?
Well, years later, long after the game was a huge success, he actually went back and did this major technical overhaul. He moved the entire game engine from XNA to monogame.
Why bother? The game was working, selling millions. Why change the engine?
It sounds technical, I know, but it was really important for the game's future. XNA had this technical ceiling, especially with how much memory RAM it could use. It often capped out around 4 gigabytes.
Okay, which is fine for simpler games, but...
But Stardew Valley lives and breathes because of its modding community. People create these huge, complex mods.
Right, like Stardew Valley expanded, adds tons of new stuff.
Exactly. Those big mods were starting to hit that 4 gigabyte limit, causing crashes, instability.
Ah, I see. So migrating to monogame wasn't about fixing current bugs.
No, it was about, as he put it, future-proofing the game. Monogame doesn't have that same RAM limit. It lets mods use way more memory.
So it was an investment in the community, ensuring people could keep adding to the game for years.
Precisely. It shows this long-term commitment.
So, looking back at this whole origin story, the job crisis forces him into this intense focus.
Which leads to this massive game.
And even after it's successful, he's still meticulously refining the core tech to support the players who embraced it.
Yeah. And because he did everything himself, that scarcity forced him to understand every single part of it. Every pixel, every line of code, every musical note.
He knew it inside out.
Which leads directly into the very deliberate, very intentional design philosophy of the game itself.
Right, it wasn't just a copycat. The design choices feel really purposeful. He was trying to solve problems he saw in the genre.
Absolutely. His main target was the Harvest Moon series, which he loved but felt had, well, kind of lost its way after Harvest Moon, back to nature.
What did he think went wrong?
He felt the later games got too complicated, maybe a bit confusing, and critically, they added too much time pressure.
Ah, the deadlines. I remember those in some of the older games. Like, you had 2 years to achieve X, Y, and Z.
Exactly. And Barone specifically wanted to avoid that. He made Stardew Valley completely open-ended.
No hard endpoint, no failure state if you don't get married by year 3 or whatever.
Nope. No final whistle. And that one decision drastically changes how you play. It encourages relaxation, immersion.
Instead of just chasing goals against the clock, it lets you breathe.
Right. It's about building a life at your own pace, not beating the game.
And the core gameplay loop supports that slower rhythm.
Yeah.
You inherit this rundown farm near Pelican Town.
And the goal is just bring it back to life. Restore the land, and maybe the town itself.
The community center is key there, right? That's kind of the main progression driver.
It is. Restoring the community center involves collecting specific items, stuff you grow, forage, mine, or fish. Completing those bundles unlocks new parts of the game world, new activities.
Like that whole new island they added later, Ginger Island.
Exactly. That came from completing the community center path.
But it's not just farming. You're juggling a lot of different skills.
Yeah. 5 core skills that level up independently. Farming, foraging, fishing, mining, and combat. It creates this really diverse little economy for yourself.
The combat is the surprising part for some people, I think. They expect pure tranquility.
Right. But the mining involves going deep into these caves, and they're full of monsters.
So you're switching between your pickaxe for ores and your sword for slimes and bats and stuff.
Yep. It adds this whole action RPG feel, which mixes things up nicely.
That mix is cool. But let's talk about the design choices that really push immersion over just, like, raw efficiency.
The animals are the first big one. He made a very conscious decision. You cannot butcher your farm animals for meat.
Really?
Right.
So cows just give milk? Chickens give eggs? indefinitely.
Pretty much. There's no gameplay incentive to, turn Bessie the cow into burgers.
So they're not just resources, they're pets, almost.
Yeah.
You name them, care for them.
Exactly. It encourages an emotional connection. It subtly shifts the game away from pure optimization and towards maybe a more humane perspective on farming, even in pixels.
That's fascinating. And the cooking system does something similar, right? It discourages pure profit-seeking.
Oh yeah, this is super clever. He deliberately designed it so that selling cooked dishes is almost always less profitable than selling the raw ingredients.
Oh, wait, really? Usually crafting or processing stuff is where you make the big bucks in games.
Now here, Barone flipped that. In Stardew, cooked food gives you temporary buffs.
Buffs? Like what?
Bonuses to your skills. Maybe you move faster, or mine quicker, or get luckier finding items, or your fishing bar is bigger. Things that help you do stuff in the game.
Ah, so you cook the spicy eel not to sell it, but because it gives you speed and luck for a dangerous cave dive.
Precisely. You're incentivized to use the food to enhance your experience, to explore more, engage deeper, not just to make more gold.
It's like behavioral design, nudging you away from spreadsheet brain and towards just living in the world.
Yeah. He knew some people would still min-max, but the system gently pushes most players towards immersion. It's brilliant, really.
Okay, shifting to the people. The relationships with the townspeople are a huge part of the game.
Central. There are over 30 characters in Pelican Town, each with their own schedules, personalities, likes, dislikes.
And you build relationships by talking to them, giving them gifts they like.
Right. Thoughtful gifts matter. As you get closer, you unlock more dialogue, special cutscenes, learn their stories.
And this leads to marriage, eventually, with some of them.
Yep. There are 12 specific characters, bachelors and bachelorettes, that you can romance and marry.
And this is where the game got a lot of positive attention, wasn't it, for its inclusivity?
Definitely. A major point was that you can marry any of the 12 candidates, regardless of your own character's gender. And the game treats it completely normally.
No gameplay difference, no awkward commentary?
None at all. Which back in 2016 was still pretty forward-thinking for a mainstream game. Major outlets like the New York Times, Washington Post, Eurogamer all praised that positive LGBTQ plus representation.
That's great. Was there any criticism around representation?
There was some discussion, yeah. While the same-sex marriage options were praised, some critics noted a lack of racial diversity among the marriage candidates specifically.
Okay, so good progress in one area, maybe room for growth in another. It's nuanced.
It often is.
Finally, let's touch on the sort of underlying social commentary, the whole Joja Corporation thing.
Ah, Joja Mart. Yeah, this is where you get those analyses like from Paste Magazine calling the game anti-capitalist.
Why is that? What's the deal with Joja?
Well, when you arrive in Pelican Town, it's kind of struggling. And the big looming corporate presence is Joja Mart, this generic, soulless supermarket on the edge of town.
Okay. And Joja's basically trying to take over. They offer convenience, but they're pushing out the local businesses, like Pierre's General Store.
And you, the player, get caught in the middle.
You get a fundamental choice.
Right.
You can either restore the rundown community center, the heart of the old town, by collecting all these different bundles of local goods.
Which takes a lot of time and effort, gathering specific crops, fish, minerals.
Right. It's the path of community effort, localism, rebuilding tradition,
And
or you can just buy a Joja Mart membership.
what does that do?
If you buy the membership, Joja basically bulldozes the community center and turns it into a warehouse. And then instead of collecting bundles, you just pay Joja large sums of money to fix up the town's facilities, repair the bridge, the minecarts, etc.
So it's the easy way out, but it means letting the corporation win.
Exactly. It's convenience versus community, corporate takeover versus local restoration. If you think about Barone's own story, feeling pushed out by the system, wanting to build something authentic, the theme of rejecting the corporate grind and building something meaningful yourself really shines through. It's like the ultimate fantasy of opting out.
Pretty much. A quiet rebellion wrapped in a charming farming game.
And that quiet rebellion, that incredibly personal project, it just absolutely took off. The launch was huge.
Huge is an understatement. It came out February 26, 2016, just for Windays initially.
And the sales velocity was insane, wasn't it?
Completely insane. In the first 2 weeks alone, it sold 425,000 copies
Wow.
within 2 months. Over 1 million. For one guy working out of his apartment, basically, that's almost unheard of.
It clearly struck a chord People were hungry for this.
Definitely. Valve saw it immediately. They listed it as one of the top 24 highest-grossing games on Steam for all of 2016. The Stardew Valley effect was real right from the start.
And the community reaction was so positive, even beyond just buying it.
Yeah, there were these amazing stories reported. People who had, pirated the game initially felt compelled to buy it because they loved it so much and respected the solo effort.
That's amazing goodwill.
And others were offering to buy copies for people who couldn't afford it. It just generated this wave of positivity.
Which was backed up by critical acclaim, right?
Absolutely. Critics loved it. It started getting called one of the best games ever made. Barone landed on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list in 2017.
Deservedly so.
Gamasutra called him a top developer of 2016, specifically for single-handedly reviving the whole farming sim genre.
And the ultimate compliment, perhaps.
Came from Yasuhiro Wada, the guy who created Harvest Moon in the first place.
What did he say?
He praised Stardew, saying it carried on the spirit of his original games, especially that sense of freedom, which he felt some of the later Harvest Moon games might have lost touch with.
Wow, that must have felt incredible for Barone.
I can only imagine. But okay, here's where the story gets a bit more complex. Turning this solo hit into a global business.
Right, because he couldn't handle everything himself anymore. Publishing, ports, localization.
Exactly. That's where Chucklefish came in. They're a publisher.
When did they get involved?
They actually approached him way back in 2013 after the game got attention on Steam Greenlight, which was like a way for indie games to get voted onto the Steam store.
So before it was even finished?
Yeah. They offered help with things like setting up the website, hosting, managing a wiki, the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Did he take funding from them?
No, importantly, he didn't take development funding. And he made a key choice early on. No Steam Early Access.
Meaning he waited until it was fully finished to release it.
Right. He wanted version 1.0 to be polished and complete, which probably helped that massive positive launch reception.
Smart move. So after the Windows launch, Chucklefish's role grew.
Massively. Starting around May 2016, they handled the huge job of localizing the game into other languages.
Which is essential for global sales.
Totally. They also managed the ports to Linux and macOS, which came out just a couple of months later, July 2016.
And then the consoles started rolling out.
Yep. PS4 and Xbox One landed in December 2016. Then the big one, Nintendo Switch, in October 2017.
They canceled the Wii U version for that, right?
They did. Good call, obviously, given the Switch's success. Stardew became huge on Switch. They even did a PlayStation Vita port in May 2018.
Wow, Vita too. They covered everything. What about mobile?
Mobile was handled by a different company, actually, called The Secret Police. iOS came first in October 2018, then Android in March 2019.
And they did that cool thing where you could transfer your save file?
Yeah. You could move your PC farm over to your phone. Super player-friendly. Shows Barone's focus on convenience for the players.
But eventually, Barone wanted full control back, didn't he? Even from the publishers who helped him expand.
That seems to be the case. It aligns with his whole solo developer ethos, wanting complete independence. So, starting around late 2018, early 2019, began the process of shifting to self-publishing.
Was it like a messy breakup?
Doesn't seem overtly messy, but it was definitely a complex, multi-year process. It wasn't just flipping a switch.
How did it work?
He regained the publishing rights platform by platform under his company name, ConcernedApe. He took back PC rights first, I think in late 2018, then Switch rights in October 2019.
So negotiating with Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Google, Apple, one by one.
Pretty much. It highlights how complicated game publishing is globally. Each platform holder has different contracts, different requirements.
When did he finally get full control back everywhere?
The last piece fell into place in March 2022 when he regained the Android publishing rights. That officially ended Chucklefish's involvement with the game.
So a 4-year process just to become fully self-published for the game he built alone. Wow.
Yeah. And since around 2019, to manage this huge ongoing operation, he has started working with a very small team. There's another designer involved now helping with updates and stuff.
But he's still the main creative force.
Oh, absolutely. It's still very much his vision driving it.
And the result of all that work, that control, those massive sales numbers.
41 million copies sold as of December 2024. It's just phenomenal.
Let's break that down again. PC is the biggest chunk.
Yeah, 26 million on PC alone, which really speaks to the power of that platform, the modding scene, keeping it fresh forever.
And Switch is next.
Nintendo Switch is huge, too. 7.9 million copies sold there. It really found a perfect home on that console.
It just shows the game crossed over from being a PC indie darling to a genuine mainstream global hit.
And a big reason for that lasting success, those continued sales, is that Barone never really stopped working on it. The game keeps growing.
It's not just sitting there static since 2016.
Not at all. Multiplayer is a prime example. That was something he wanted for launch, but it was just too much for one person.
Right, coordinating multiple players on one farm, technically complex.
Extremely. So it came later. The PC beta was April 2018, official PC launch in August 2018, then consoles followed.
And how does multiplayer work?
Up to 4 players can share one farm. You share the land, the money, the house upgrades, but you can work together or separately.
So one person can focus on mining, another on fishing.
Exactly. One tends the crops, one deals with animals. It adds this whole cooperative layer, turns the solo escape into a shared project.
Very cool. But the updates go beyond just adding multiplayer, right? He's still adding significant content.
Oh yeah. The 1.6 update is the most recent big one. Hit PC in March 2024, then consoles and mobile later that year, November 2024.
What was in 1.6?
A ton of stuff. New festivals, new items, dialogue, secrets, major support for modding, quality of life improvements. It was huge.
So big that IGN actually re-reviewed the game.
They did. In July 2024, 8 years after launch, they gave it a perfect 10 out of 10.
Wow.
They cited how it had just kept growing and evolving into this undeniable modern classic. Getting a perfect score years later is almost unheard of.
It really shows commitment. And he's still looking forward.
Seems so. We know a version for the Nintendo Switch 2 is planned for fall 2025, keeping the Valley alive on new hardware.
And a huge part of keeping it alive is that modding community we mentioned.
It's crucial, especially on PC. The creativity there is just wild.
Like Stardew Valley expanded. Over 3 million downloads.
Yeah, that one's massive. Adds whole new areas, dozens of characters, tons of content. It's practically an unofficial expansion pack made by fans. Shows how much people love the base game that they want to build on it endlessly.
But sometimes that fan creativity bumps up against corporate realities, right? There was some legal drama recently.
Yes, the Baldur's Village incident. That was interesting.
What happened there?
Okay, so in March 2025, a fan made this really popular mod that themed Stardew Valley around Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay, missing 2 huge games.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, people loved it. But then lawyers representing Wizards of the Coast, they own Dungeons & Dragons, and thus the Baldur's Gate IP, they issued a DMCA takedown notice.
So they legally forced the mod offline.
Initially, yes. Standard corporate IP protection move.
Right.
But the reaction was really interesting. Sven Vinke, the head of Lorien Studios, the guys who actually made Baldur's Gate 3, he publicly praised the mod and basically said, hey, this kind of fan creation is cool. Maybe don't be so aggressive with the legal stuff.
So the developer liked it, but the IP owner's lawyers shut it down. Awkward.
Very awkward. Fortunately, Wizards of the Coast backtracked pretty quickly. They apologized, said the DMCA was sent in error, and the mod was allowed back up.
Phew. Happy ending. But it shows the tricky line Barone's game walks, being so open to mods.
Definitely. It's a balance between fan freedom and external IP rights.
Moving beyond the game code itself, the music has taken on a life of its own.
Oh, hugely. The soundtrack is beloved. You hear it on game music radio shows all the time.
And Barone, the self-taught musician, took it further. Orchestral albums.
Yeah. In 2020, Symphonic Tale, The Place I Truly Belong, came out, recorded by the Budapest Symphony Orchestra. 15 tracks given the full orchestral treatment.
That elevates it, doesn't it? Shows the quality of the compositions.
Absolutely. And he also leaned into the game's relaxing reputation with a lullaby album.
A lullaby album.
Yeah, part of the Prescription for Sleep series. They give piano and saxophone remixes of game music. The Stardew one came out in 2021. 10 remixes plus a brand new track Barone wrote just for it called Beauty in the Seasons, done in that calming style.
That's amazing. From new metal bassist to composer of orchestral scores and lullabies.
Quite the journey. And the music isn't just recorded anymore, it's being performed live.
Concert tours.
2 different ones, actually. There's the Festival of Seasons tour, which started announcement back in late 2023. And then a second one, Symphony of Seasons, announced late 2024, featuring a 35-piece orchestra.
So Stardew Valley music is now like actual classical concert repertoire.
Pretty much. It shows the depth and appeal of the score.
And the expansion isn't just music. There's physical stuff, too. Board games, cookbooks.
Right, Stardew Valley. The board game came out in 2021. Its cooperative players work together to save the valley, kind of like the community center quest.
Did people like it?
Loved it. The first printing sold out almost instantly. Huge demand for that shared, cozy experience in a physical form.
And the cookbook, that feels like the ultimate crossover.
The official Stardew Valley cookbook came out May 2024. Barone co-authored it. Over 50 recipes based on the food items you cook in the game.
So you can finally taste those pink cakes and survival burgers.
Exactly. It bridges that gap between the digital world and your actual kitchen.
All of this, the updates, the music, the merch,
Yeah.
it just builds this incredible legacy.
It really does. Industry folks widely credit Stardew Valley with sparking this huge resurgence in farming sims and the whole cozy game genre.
It opened the door for a lot of other games.
Definitely. And culturally, its impact is just massive. NME ranked it as the #1 game for stress reduction.
I can believe that. It has that therapeutic quality.
Totally. And it pops up in unexpected places. Barone did animation for an Alves music video.
The indie band. Cool.
He voiced a character in Hollow Knight, Silksong. The game's playable in Teslas now.
In the car.
Yep, Tesla Arcade.
Yeah.
And even fan tributes get recognition, like that Lego model of Pelican Town that won an award at BrickCon.
It's just everywhere. Stardew Valley isn't just a game anymore. It feels more like a cultural touchstone. Proof that one person's dedicated vision can resonate incredibly deeply. #outro.
So yeah, if we kind of wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
it's just this amazing story, isn't it? Eric Barone facing unemployment.
Right. Starts a project just for his resume.
Pours 4.5 years of intense solo work into it, with his partner supporting them.
And creates this game that's not just fun, but full of these really thoughtful design choices.
Yeah, the open-ended play, the way cooking works against pure profit, the relationship options, that subtle Joja critique. It's all so deliberate.
And that care translates into this massive success, which he then carefully manages, taking back publishing control to protect his vision.
Leading to, 41 million copies sold, symphonies, board games, cookbooks, the whole package.
And he's not stopping. We know he's working on his next big game, Haunted Chocolatier.
And apparently he's doing it the same way again, coding it, drawing it, pretty much all from scratch himself. That same commitment to the singular vision.
That's incredible dedication.
Yeah.
But he has said Haunted Chocolatier will have more focus on combat, right? More action.
He has, which brings up an interesting question for you, the listener, to think about. Well, Stardew Valley built its legacy on being this ultimate cozy, relaxing, stress-free escape. If Haunted Chocolatier leans more into combat and action, how might that change the feel? Will it still have that same comforting appeal that defines the ConcernedApe brand?
Will the next escape be as peaceful or something different, more challenging maybe?
Exactly. Something to ponder.
Definitely something we'll be watching closely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Valley.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
What will your next deep dive be?